Hi, my name's Jane Berthium, and I'm the co-parent of 4 adult children ranging from age 20 to 33. I know, I look way too young to be the mother of a 33-year-old, but trust me, I am. Actually, the younger 2 are my biological children, and the older 2 are from a second marriage. But the important part is that I've been through the teen years, not once, but twice. From a different perspective, but twice. So I work in the healing arts, which are based on Eastern philosophies, and I'm trained in healing touch, Reiki, Psyche, and I'm also a clinical hypnotherapist. The most important part of what I do is mentoring and teaching life skills to teens. Through the course of my work, I've also become the author of a teen self-help book called Choices for Teens. This short book can not only help the teens, but will also help you as a parent as well. Now, enough about me, let's get on to the purpose of this video. I believe we've lost sight of our ultimate goal as parents and as individuals. So in this short video, I'm going to redirect us back to the basics. Our primary purpose in life is what? To be happy, of course. And isn't that what all of us as parents really want for our children? Of course it is. But how do we become happy? We become happy by, first of all, thinking positively. Too many people get sucked into the drama of life. In the coming weeks, I want you to become very aware of the words you use, what you read and watch on TV, and who you surround yourself with. These all have a direct effect on your happiness and positive way of thinking. We need to rid ourselves of negative self-talk, as this generally leads to self-sabotage and frustration. Instead, I want you to surround yourself with the most positive people you can find. People who you admire and want to emulate. I also want you to turn off the news and only read positive sections of the newspaper or online publications. Tell yourself how wonderful you are, that you look great in that outfit, and how well you handled that situation under those circumstances. We are also going to stay out of people's drama. If someone starts telling you a story about how they were wronged, try to diffuse the situation by pointing out the other person's point of view. They will likely look for someone else to support them in their misery and leave you alone. So what does all this have to do with parenting a teen? Well, it's my belief that we need to work on ourselves and our skills before we try to pass them along to our teens. The old saying, do as I say and not as I do, doesn't fly with today's teenagers. The skills I'll be teaching you today are important for people of all ages, and we'll begin by creating a positive space in your home and in your lives. So let's take a moment to recap. You may want to write this down as a reminder for later, but these are your 3 steps to creating positive energy in your life. Step 1. Surround yourself with positive people. Step 2. Use positive words when engaging in self-talk and when speaking with your children or teens. Step 3. Avoid drama. Stay away from watching the news and negative media, and don't get sucked into the drama of other people's stories. Okay, great. So now you know how to create a more positive vibe in your homes and even at work if you choose to. So let's move on. In life, we tend to get caught up in competing and comparing. This issue is even more prevalent when dealing with our children. We all want our child to be the best and to be special. The truth is that everyone has challenges and hurdles to get through in life, and our children are no different. Don't expect more than they can give. If they're not a great student or athlete or socially awkward, don't expect them to excel if you put them outside of what they're good at. Adding the pressure of expecting more than they're capable of simply does not help. So let's talk about realistic expectations for our teens. Here's a fact taken from my book, Choices for Teens, on brain development. Did you know that the brain doesn't fully mature until the early to mid-20s? And the last section of the brain to develop is the front of the brain, called the prefrontal cortex. This area is responsible for impulse control and understanding consequences, which may account for much of why a teen engages in impulsive behavior and poor decision making. So this is not to say that I'm providing an excuse for teens to behave badly. I'm just saying that you may have to point out the consequences ahead of time and talk to your kids about what might happen if they choose a certain behavior in a given situation. Another expectation parents seem to have is surrounding life skills. We think that because these young people are in these adult-like bodies, they have suddenly somehow inherited the skills of an adult. So just because they've watched you clean up, cook, do laundry, cut the grass, take out the garbage, and so on, doesn't mean they know how to do these things. Take the time to patiently teach these skills and how to be safe while doing them. Never use the word stupid or the phrase, "You've watched me do this 1,000 times." Remember the previous part of our discussion today and keep your words positive. The skills you teach will not only go a long way in enhancing your child's independence, but also to build their self-esteem. One tip I have when teaching these life skills to your teens is to also teach them to take the time to appreciate their efforts. For example, when teaching children to cut the grass, they always need to take a moment at the end to turn around and look back at the overall job and what they just did, and appreciate how good it looks. You can tell them it looks good, but they need to turn around and appreciate what they just did for themselves. This teaches them to appreciate their work and not always look outside themselves for praise and appreciation. This builds pride in themselves and raises their self-esteem. When I work with teens that are high anxiety kids, the first thing I look to do is teach life skills and work on various anxieties by, for example, teaching knife skills in the kitchen or how to use machinery they've never used before, like a washer or dryer or a lawnmower. It's amazing how good they feel about themselves once it's done. And yes, you may get some complaining along the way, but try to keep this training as light and as fun as possible. Okay, again we have a few action items. Number 1, have realistic expectations for your teens. And number 2, teach life skills to your teens that build self-esteem and independence at the same time. You're probably thinking, I've given you a lot of work and I haven't even touched on disciplining your teen. However, at this age, there are natural consequences to their actions, and your teen needs to learn that they're responsible for their own choices. And parents, you need to let them make their own decisions, with guidance, of course, but don't bail them out when a bad decision leads to a consequence. Let's take, for example, new drivers. They need to be aware that there are a lot of rules when you're on the road, and when you break them, you could get caught, and it could cost you. Parents, please don't pay your child's tickets. They need to learn to drive only as fast as they can afford. If they can't pay the ticket, they shouldn't be speeding. It's their consequence, and they need to come up with the money or go before the courts to get the fine reduced if they can't afford it. You didn't speed. It's not your responsibility to pay up. In my next video, we'll deal with teens that are acting out. But this will get the average parent of the average teen started on a good road. So just to wrap things up, today's coaching session was about creating a positive environment to parent in, then teaching life skills to your teens to ensure independence and success when they move out on their own. I guess it's not rocket science, but it's something that gets often overlooked in our busy lives today, and it's key to creating successful adults. So go out there now and teach your teens the best way that you know how. We're all just doing our best. So I'll see you in the next video. I hope you enjoyed this one, and you may want to have a look, choicesforteens.com. You can buy the book for your teen. It takes about 2 hours to read. There's also an audio book if they're not into reading. Thanks for your time. I'll see you next time.